Hey guys, and welcome to the Non-Canonical Chronicles. I suppose this is more of an introductionary sort of episode or overview of what is exactly that this podcast is going to be or is aiming to be. My name is Stuart Holmes, and recently I have been delving really deep, like scarily deep, to the point of, I need to go into pressurized chambers just so I don't get the bends kind of deep, into mysteries and monsters. And in particular, over the last maybe 2 years, I finally come to terms with the fact that I am a nerd to a degree that perhaps I hadn't previously accepted, in terms of the idea of role-playing games in a tabletop format, a la D&D, any dice-related potential character embodiment games. And I've been getting into that a lot, and I'm enjoying it in a way that I hadn't necessarily thought I would. In particular, what has taken me very strongly by it is the idea of improvised narrative. And that's something that I didn't realize I really enjoyed and been longing for and been missing in a lot of other narrative-based mediums. Say, for instance, video games or other books, movies, various other podcasts. Unlike other narratives that are really well-structured and put together, improvised narratives that rely on a mix of various different rules and mechanics, but also elements of chaos and probability, create some of the most unique and unexpected sort of stories and more or less experiences that I've come across in a long time, and that has been very precious to me. God, that was very lame. It's been a really good experience, and in particular I've been enjoying it because you get to share it with other people, and you also get to make your narrative. Well, I speak, of course, in the terms of your, as in me being the acting GM or narrative moderator, keeper, king of words, ghost poet laureate of the free world. Many different monikers, whatever one suits you the best, go for it. Essentially, as the story ref, I'm in a really good position to actually take on board the narrative suggestions and the imaginative improvisation of the players, who are the participants in this story, and actually, build something from the skeleton framework of a very basic story outline. You have your beginning, middle, and end, and actually rely on more or less our collective imagination to fill in the blanks and see what happens and interpret different things. And that is really, really fun. It's great, and nothing really comes close to it the same way. Now, I'm going to take a step back here because I'm talking in terms of everybody being completely on board with what I'm saying. So for those of you that don't know D&D, don't know RPG, tabletop, all these things that I'm saying, essentially it's a imaginative video game that you play in the real world with storytelling, improvisation, that relies on certain rules, like a board game would have, that change the outcome of things that are done. So here's a scenario. I'm a medieval knight. I'm in a castle. There's a princess on the other side, who's gender fluid, and they are trapped in this society. They're trapped in chains, and I need to save them. However, in between me is this very large, portly goblin. So this is a scenario that I've been given by the GM. And then they would probably follow up by saying, what do you do? How do you participate in this scenario? So I would say something along the lines of, I attack the goblin. So I'm attacking the goblin. That means I'm doing something aggressive, I'm taking an action. This would then be something that the GM would refer to a rule book for, or I would, and come to an understanding that we go, okay, you're attacking. That means attack. So we roll a dice, and the outcome of the dice represents the success of your action. So if I got a 6, I'd totally attack that goblin for good's dems, for DM's dems, for the damage. But that's a quick overview. So, essentially, compressed. It's that. It's dice and probability alter the success of actions given in scenarios that a person pitches that is set in a themed narrative scape. That is essentially what it is. So now, what am I doing? What's this podcast about? Well, I'll tell you. The Non-Canonical Chronicles is based on a game system called Monster of the Week. And a lot of people probably understand that from different series that they've watched, like Buffy the Vampire Slayer or X-Files, where there is a weekly monster and mystery that's associated with each episode that the characters interact with and do battle with or fight or solve and win or lose depending on the nature of that show. And that is essentially what this podcast is about. There's a game system called Monster of the Week, and you create characters that have a series of different statistics and powers and abilities, and the players create their character using that framework, and then I, using a different framework of my own, create a narrative skeleton to use to bring this all together. So every episode we would have our characters, we would learn a little bit about them, and then we see them try and solve this mystery. The aim of the game here is essentially to discover the weakness of a monster, find the monster, solve the mystery, and kill and or capture said monster. That's what we're hoping our characters will do. Along the way, we're going to be coming across some very interesting people and monsters. Let me tell you, I've been racking my brain trying to think up of some real spooky monsters. Let me tell you right now, there's Hanzo, who is my main, but also a man that is comprised almost entirely of palms. That's horrifying. Not particularly effective, but hey, he's got a mean grip. So, and many more other fan art accessible, deviant art, participatable creations will definitely be on the horizon. And the idea is that this podcast is a humorous improvisation game that you can just listen to and enjoy. We're going to have different people coming on, being different characters with different constraints and different values, and see them interact with monsters and a world that I've been making. And yeah, it's just supposed to sort of be a fun little thing. I hope this overview helped give some sort of idea of what it is. The next episodes will probably be character creation, and we'll run through more of the rules so it's easier to understand how these things go. And also I'd love to hear feedback from you and suggestions on the kind of characters and names and things and monsters as well. If you have any great monster ideas, let me know and maybe we'll put them in. So yeah, stay tuned for the first episode of the Non-Canonical Chronicles.